for joining, everybody. I've chosen Japan for tonight, and simply because it's somewhere different. It's certainly somewhere that's more up and coming, I think, and also a lot easier accessible nowadays in comparison to what it was. Much easier to get there. The prices don't see. It sounds very weird to say the prices have dropped, but in general, to get there seems to have dropped. To stay there seems to have dropped. But also, while you're out there, doesn't seem to be half as expensive as what it was. I would imagine probably their inflation rates haven't grown as quickly as maybe other countries, and a low currency. Yep, correct. So there's a few different reasons, but that I've decided to go for it. But like I say, that accessibility side of it, somewhere different. I think very much a bucket list place for people. So much to do, different varieties. So yes, that's why I've chosen Japan. I am going to instantly put what I can only describe as a trigger warning on this video, simply because I've decided for some reason to just pop a little bit in of some like common phrases that people might find useful while they're out there. However, even using YouTube videos and trying to learn how to pronounce one specifically, yeah, let's just not go there. You'll soon see when we get to it. But hey ho, I'm sure someone else will have better luck than me. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and we'll get straight into it. Lorna, could you just unmute yourself and let me know if you can see that screen, please?
I can.
Thank you very much. So exploring Japan, a guide to holidays and travel. And I've got a few different bits in here. When it decides to work, let's go ahead. So Japan stands out as a captivating travel destination. It's celebrated for its deep-rooted culture, breathtaking natural scenery, and distinctive customs. Throughout the presentation, we're going to delve into a few different areas, a few different types of holidays, have a look at some hot spots, the experiences, and some travel insights. So tourist hotspots within Japan. Tokyo, which I'm sure is the first place that most people think of when they think of Japan. It is, of course, the capital city, and it's a blend of modern skyscrapers and traditional temples. Visitors can explore diverse neighborhoods, world-class shopping, vibrant nightlife, and I do think that old meets new world really does appeal to a lot of people, more so nowadays. And then over to Kyoto, the heart of tradition. So known for the historical significance, it's got numerous UNESCO World Heritage sites. The city showcases temples, traditional wooden houses, beautiful gardens. And again, I think when people start to think of Japan, you initially think of Tokyo, and then I do think people would then recognize Kyoto as the next area. And then Hiroshima, apologies for anybody who knows that I'm saying it wrong. City that symbolizes resilience and peace. Visitors can explore the Peace Memorial Park, which commemorates the victims of the atomic bomb. The castle, which offers insights into the city's historical significance. When I was looking through photographs, I actually could have put about 15 photographs on here, but unfortunately I tried to keep it neat and stick to one. And of course, Mount Fuji, Japan's iconic peak, a natural wonder that attracts climbers and photographers alike, as I'm sure you can see from that picture there. The mountain is surrounded by picturesque landscapes, offers a glimpse of Japan's natural beauty, especially during the cherry blossom season, which is late March and early April, and takes us on to the cherry blossoms. Again, I think if you were to look at photographs of Japan, you get those city skyscrapers that come up, and then you very much get these kind of photos as well. So every spring, the cherry blossoms bloom, which creates a hell of a spectacle. And like I say, it really is that picture postcard kind of scenery. It looks gorgeous for anybody that has seen it. It's probably not the best picture I could have taken, but popular viewing spots, and here we go with the pronunciations, include Ueno Park in Tokyo, Maruyama Park in Kyoto, and a lot of locals as well as tourists will gather to enjoy Hanami, which is the viewing tradition of the cherry blossom. And then over to different types of holidays. So I've very briefly touched on this here, as you can see. But you've got your coastal getaways in Okinawa. I think that's how you say it. Weirdly, I do know of Okinawa, but for some reason, it just does not come off my tongue very well. But it is famous for the beautiful beaches, the clear water. So obviously, if you are wanting the beach side of things, you very much can do that. Urban adventures in Tokyo and Osaka, bustling, they offer modern, they offer tradition, your nightlife, your dining, your shopping, you name it, you've got it. And then different diverse holiday options across the whole of Japan means that you can do the beach, you can do the relaxation in the south, you can do the cultural, the exploring in the north. And of course, with regards to technology nowadays, the amount of flights and things that we have, you absolutely can mix the two together. And then just a couple of places that it may be worth thinking of pairing up with Tokyo. If you have somebody who maybe wants to visit a city for a few nights or something like that, South Korea is, again, just something really different to sort of twin Japan with. But of course, it is very, very close. You can get the blend of traditional and modern cultures. You've got the historical sites, and then of course you've got the very modern sort of K-pop phenomenon that's very much taken over the likes of South Korea. And of course, as I said, it is very close, and so quick travel between the two, making it really convenient as well. And then I also decided to have a look at something like China. So I think obviously client dependent, but I just think it's a really good way of seeing two different countries within the one holiday. And obviously there's a lot of culture between the two, China and Tokyo. And of course, you've got that completely modern side of it as well. So two countries, in it being able to see both the historical, the culture, as well as the modern take on things into totally separate countries, I think would be really good to see. Obviously, I popped in there the Great Wall, the Forbidden City, but of course, we know China's got absolutely loads and loads to see. There is other destinations available, of course. And then I've just sort of gone top to bottom with a few hotels. If you have a client that wants absolute luxury, the Park Hyatt, which I'm sure a lot of people will have heard of, the chain, they are known to be the top sort of, well, exactly as I've put there, a luxury stay. Sophisticated, exceptional service, views over the city skyline as well as Mount Fuji as well. You've got your pool, a renowned restaurant. You are very much towards the top of the top there. Again, I'm certainly not saying it's the only luxury hotel. I could have filled a good few pages just with lists of properties that were known as 5-star or luxury. But yes, just picked that one out. And then again, we're going back to the pronunciation scenario, but we've got the traditional ryokans, I think they are. And basically they are traditional Japanese inns. They offer cultural experience, obviously completely unique to the country, often featuring tatami mat rooms, futon bedding, communal hot spring baths. If somebody wants to do traditional and they want to do local and they want to really get in there, this would be a really good way of being able to do it. And then, of course, you have the complete opposite end of the scale, those that don't, that want to do it, you know, as on the cheap as possible, if that's the right way to put it. There are, of course, a lot of shared accommodations, hostels, things like that, certainly in your major cities. But for somebody, you know, certainly solo, I'm not saying just, but certainly solo travelers, you know, your gap year students, those kind of real backpacking, off we go. They love this kind of thing. And I think sometimes people don't necessarily realise that we do A to Z. Again, if that is the right way to put it. So I've just popped that in there. And those little sleeping pods to me, honestly, just look like heaven. Just shut that little flap thing and I'll see you in about 12 hours. Yeah, so just thought I'd put that in there as well. And then, as I was saying at the beginning, the accessibility has become much wider, much broader over to Japan. So regular services from Heathrow and Manchester. There are other airports, I think Birmingham, I think even further north, maybe towards Scotland, but please don't quote me. But like I say, your main sort of airports are very much covered. British Airways and All Nippon Airways do a direct flight, both of which are from Heathrow. But your other airlines include BA that aren't direct, Lufthansa, Cathay Pacific, Emirates. Again, I could go on and on because Air France was in there, Qatar was in there, China Airways was in there. There was absolutely loads. The reason I've specifically put this in here is, again, just to give people an idea that, for example, if you have a look for a flight with Emirates, you know 100% you're going to touch down in Dubai, and there's an opportunity for a twin centre. Cathay Pacific, Hong Kong, etc., etc. So you always have that option to just ask the question to your clients. Listen, you're going through Dubai anyway. Had you considered whether or not you might want to stay for a couple of nights on the way out, on the way back, etc., etc.? And of course, your flight duration, just because people wouldn't necessarily know. So in total, you're ranging between 11 and 14 hours, obviously, depending on which route you choose. And of course, if you go for the absolute cheapest flight, the chances are you're going to be higher than 14 hours. You may have a longer wait in the touchdown destination. But of course, we're kind of aware of how it works, or we certainly are getting to know how it works. And then just a couple of typical food types. So sushi, of course. Oh, crikey. Sorry, I thought I'd zoomed that bit in. I absolutely haven't. Oh, no. Sorry, guys. Bear with me. I am so sorry. I cannot believe I've just pressed that. I don't want to keep my finger on it because I know I'll go too far. There we go. I've obviously accidentally skipped that there and not zoomed in on it. So now we'll really test my eyes. So sushi, of course, I think would be everybody's go-to if you were to ask them the question. Of course, often seen as Japan's iconic dish, combines vinegared rice, various toppings, primarily seafood. But if you are me, you'll go for a vegetable sushi, and sometimes they do, of course, have fruit. Ramen is a popular noodle soup, comes in various styles, each with its own broth, its own specific unique noodles, toppings, etc. Tempura, I'm sure, again, we're all kind of aware. You may not recognize the country that it's known to be from or anything like that, but seafood and vegetables lightly battered and fried, giving you that lovely crispy texture. Again, just the veg for me, but still. And of course, sashimi, which a lot of people do mistake for sushi, but is thinly sliced raw fish and obviously doesn't have the rice. Usually accompanied by soy sauce and a little bit of wasabi. Here we go. I have not been looking forward to this at all day. Popular phrases. Konnichiwa. I think, again, we probably all have at least heard of konnichiwa, which is, of course, hello. And I just feel as though when you go into other countries, certainly countries like Japan, like China, South Korea, for example, I feel like learning these couple of basic, and I mean real basic, phrases or words, I think they appreciate it a lot. And that's the reason I've put this in there. And it genuinely is as simple as that. Arigato is thank you. And again, simple, powerful, and they genuinely do appreciate, you're obviously showing your appreciation, and they appreciate the fact that you're going out of your way to learn these things. Oh gosh. Sumimasen, I believe. I did Google these. I just can't remember it. I should have done it later. I did it this morning. But it's basically excuse me or I'm sorry. And used, as I've put there, for example, in like a crowded place or when you're wanting to get somebody's attention in, of course, a nice, respectful way. Now, this one, I cannot even begin to remember how to pronounce it. Oh, no, it's not this one. This one is oishi, which means delicious. And I'm sure there's a couple of different ways that you'd be able to, a couple of different scenarios that you'd be using that in. But of course, food is going to be the main one, oishi. And then here is my arch nemesis. As I'm sure you can see that there. I know for a fact I'm going to finish this presentation in a minute and somebody is going to say to me, or someone that's not watching it in real time is going to say to me, you haven't got a clue what you're talking about. This is how you say it. But it is something along the lines of, I go a hanamasuka, I believe. Again, I will just apologize to anybody who would like to jump through the screen right now and shake me. But it is literally, do you speak English? And of course, as I've put in there, this could be an absolute lifesaver. It wouldn't be for me because they just look at me and be like, what is she talking about? But for those of you who have the patience to sit and practice on the very short YouTube clip that I was looking at, I'm sure you'll get that down to a T. And then with regards to us traveling over there, we do not currently need a visa. You can stay for up to 90 days. But as we've seen, as we know, as we may have even had dealings with ourselves when we've been traveling, these things can change. So with regards to being a travel agent, which is something that I've always appreciated, we are not responsible for visas and entry stays and all of that kind of thing. We can very much say to a customer, you do need to have a look on the government website. Obviously, from a service perspective, I would appreciate anybody doing that on a client's behalf and saying to them, you know, you don't need this, you don't need that, you may need this, you may need that. Of course, with regards to our kind of business model, we do seem to have a lot of clients that aren't necessarily from the UK. So that's probably something that may be a little bit trickier. Obviously, because you're then looking at different countries' rules and regulations and entry requirements, etc. But with regards to a UK client, it really is a 2-minute job to just nip on, have a quick look at what the entry, if any, entry requirements are, let them know, but then obviously saying to them, my advice would be, you know, you're not traveling for another, let's say, 10 months. My advice would be just to double check in a few months' time or a couple of months before you travel, when your tickets arrive, whatever it might be, just make sure that nothing's changed. And it really is as simple as that. And then with regards to just ending the presentation, embracing the diversity of Japan. So they do very much cater for all types of travellers. But with regards to making sure that you are seeing the old, the new, the culture, the real cuisine, you know, the landscapes, really the best advice when I've been looking through is to very much plan a bit of an itinerary, making sure that you are giving yourself time to go and see the different sides of Japan, rather than kind of just winging it and see where you get. I'm not saying don't wing it, because I enjoy doing that, but I do think it's nice to have a little bit of both, a little bit of structure, making sure you're doing and seeing what you want to, and you're not missing out, and you're not going to regret it when you get home, and then doing little bits on a whim as well. Respecting local customs, immersing yourself in the traditions. The holistic approach will ensure a rewarding and memorable holiday experience in this captivating destination. And that is the end of my presentation. Stop the recording and ask if there's any questions outside of the training. So let me just thank everybody for coming. Thank everybody for watching who's not in real time. Thursday, like I say, we've got another destination training. Off the top of my head, I believe it's Mexico. You may find somebody has to step in and shut me up for Mexico, because I absolutely adore the place.
It is Mexico. Good.
Thank you. I've been a good few times, and it's genuinely one of my favourite places on earth. So yeah, I'll probably have to get in touch with somebody prior and tell them to step in and cut me off, because I know what I'm like. So hopefully I shall see some people on Thursday. So thank you very much, everybody.